So one of the funny things about being depressed is that being depressed tricks you into thinking that it's never going to get better. But the truth is, it will get better. You won't actually be depressed forever. It's really hard to convince yourself of that, though. That's why I started doing a vibe log. I thought maybe if I started vlogging the vibe of the overall day, like whether that day was kind of depressed or whether that day was kind of inspired, then maybe I would see that I went through phases during those times when I didn't believe that I went through phases. One of the things I've learned is that it's never as black and white as it seems to be. There are simple formulas, like way down deep, but it's not like connected to certain activities. Like I can't say every time I make pancakes I'm happy, because that's not always true. It's actually not about what you're doing. It's not even about certain feelings lead to certain other feelings every single time. It's really much more minute than that. You have to go down to like a single root thought. Whenever I have the thought that I'm crap, that always leads to me feeling bad. Your heart is having reactions to what your head is thinking all the time. So you have to take it down to a really tiny level about what are those little, maybe even subconscious thoughts that you don't even realize you're thinking. What are those? Keeping the vibe log has been an interesting experiment. It's really taught me a lot about what is actually true for me. I thought that I would see recurring patterns, that I would see, oh, I go through a depressed phase every month or something like that. And I've been doing it for nearly a full year now, and no 2 months, no 2 weeks look the same. Sometimes I have a highly inspired week where I'm like inspired almost every day, and this past February I wasn't inspired during a single day, although I was very intuitive and introspective. Depression doesn't just come in one size. It comes in all kinds of sizes, big, small. Sometimes you're depressed for a couple hours, sometimes you're depressed for weeks. Inspiration comes in all sizes too. Sometimes you want to build an entire house, and it's like the whole inspiration comes to you at once, exactly how you want to make it. Other times, you have an inspiration to make pancakes, and the whole recipe comes to you at once. Maybe because you've made it several dozen times before. The things that are meaningful to us are specifically meaningful to us because we have a strong emotion in response to them. It's gonna come to an end. You're going to feel inspired again. You're going to love again. No matter how deep you are in grief, no matter how deep you are in a sense of sadness or futility, you will touch again. You will feel connected again. You will find your highest truth and your inspiration, just as you have before. It will come to you again. And if it seems like you've never been this depressed before, or never been this futile before, those are all lies. The job of the mind is to make it so that the heart feels good, to listen to the heart's reactions to your thoughts. So if you're having thoughts that don't feel good to your heart, then it's your mind's job to figure out, why is that? What can I do to make it better? When you start trying to use your mind for your heart's job, you start telling yourself what you want with your mind. You come up with all of these shoulds. I should do this because my father said so, because my professor said so. you start coming up with these shoulds that might even be based on what you really want. Maybe your heart really desires a paradise to live in, and your mind says, oh, well, I need lots of money, and so I'm going to focus on money all the time, and that's all I'm going to focus on, and I'm going to work really, really hard. And meanwhile, your heart might start hurting. It might be like, man, I'm in pain down here because all we do is things I don't even want to do anymore. Emotion is really what makes life worth living. It's those positive feelings that makes us feel like we want to be alive. In order to really emphasize that feeling of being alive and to really enjoy those emotions, you have to listen to your heart and what it actually is feeling. If you don't listen to it, the next thing you know, you feel so depressed you can't act at all. Ventilation. Fresh air when frying. On a day-to-day basis, listening to your heart doesn't mean listening to a voice in your head. Your heart doesn't generally speak as a voice in your head. It speaks in feelings that you feel in response to the thoughts you're having. If you want to know what your heart wants, you have to generate ideas and then wait for that feeling to communicate to you how you feel about the idea. I've literally done probably 100 different practices in the last 10 years, maybe more, trying to up-level my life, as people are saying these days. But the most effective practice I found of all of them is listening to my heart. Now, if you don't get feelings in your heart when you're listening for them, you can actually do a whole meditation based on listening to your heart to get really quiet and still and focus on it, focus on your breath. There are various meditations that you can do for this, but it's all about focusing on your sensations. Hey, I'm up here. So those of you who know the body of my work and know where I came from might think of me as a raw foodist. I still actually go entire days where I eat nothing but raw food. I've gone entire years where I've eaten nothing but raw food. But listening to my heart has led me to learn to use emotional intelligence when it comes to food, not just intelligence about nutritional data or other people's experiences, or you could list 100 things. I particularly love food that's not going to hurt my stomach, so that's really key. That's first. Obviously, I don't feel good emotionally if I don't feel good physically. This particular recipe I've found resonates really well with me. It's one of the few fried foods I eat. There's pretty much no other fried food that I eat regularly. This has no dairy, no gluten, no artificial sweeteners. It's only sweetened with apples. So the flour is cassava, which is a root vegetable. And yes, it uses eggs, so it is not vegan. I tried it without eggs and it didn't resonate with me as well. The trick about finding food that resonates with you emotionally is noticing how your heart feels while you're making it and while you're eating it. Do you feel uplifted? Do you feel excited? Do you feel energized? And so maybe you don't get sensations in your chest the way I do. You might not have a super clear notion, but you can just pay attention to your energy levels. If your energy goes up, if you feel really uplifted, if you feel better about your life, if you feel less depressed, then that food has emotional benefit for you, even if it isn't like maybe 100% best for you, or maybe it isn't best for you long term. Like maybe it's not something you could eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and be healthy. What I hope to achieve with my Vlog, I achieved. So the day before yesterday, when I felt depressed in the afternoon, I remembered my Vlog, and I remembered how recently and frequently I felt really inspired. And then all of a sudden, I felt better. It was like, okay, it's okay that I'm depressed and miserable right now. I can just relax into it. All emotions are valid. They always have a good reason for coming up. And they always have a good reason for changing and shifting. And the more you allow them, feel into them, the more they just change. Of course, if you try to force your emotions to change, or if you try to be present with them so that they will change, that often doesn't work. Hence, me keeping track of how I feel from day to day, and just using that as evidence to allow me to just allow my emotions. Because as much as I may intellectually know it's gonna pass, like I need proof, so I basically created my own proof. So obviously when I say heart, I don't actually mean the part of your body that is pumping blood, the part of you that's beating in your chest in a literal sense or in a physical sense. What I mean is the emotional body. Euphemisms such as heartbreak. Obviously you didn't break your heart, we call that a heart attack. When we use the term heartbreak though, we're talking about that metaphorical process where you feel pain in your chest, and of course that's because there's a big ball of nerves right next to your heart. You could say emotional body for every time I say the word heart. So if you're not feeling anything in that nerve ball in your chest, you can just start by noticing any sensations you have in your body at all, and make that a daily practice. Over time, you'll start noticing more and more things. You can notice every sound that you're hearing. Like right now I can hear the attic fan running that vents the solarium so it doesn't overheat. I can hear bird song. And you can actually hear multiple kinds of birds. Inside a house you might hear a refrigerator, an air filter, a fan running in another room. If you get still enough, you might be hearing your own breathing or maybe even your own pulsing of some kind. And by tuning into all these different sounds, you become deeply present with the space around you in a way that you don't normally get present. And that's really powerful training for your mind. And doing practices like that, believe it or not, bleed over and becoming more aware of your emotions and what you're really feeling about something. When you're really listening to your heart, you actually can't manifest disconnection from other people. Your heart hurts with their heart. The more you get in touch with your heart, the more you just automatically feel compassion. The practice of listening to your heart is a compassion practice. There's a video of mine about the dangers of positive focus, and one of those dangers is that you have to actually block out your compassion for other people. So one of the worst things that you manifest as a result of positive focus is disconnection, the sense of loneliness, the sense that there's no one else with you, because someone else being really with you means someone being connected with your heart. Their heart and being connected with your heart is what connection is. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, and if you like my work, head over to my website, subscribe to my newsletter. If you'd like to get exclusive access to my Viblog project and all of my realizations about that project, as well as all of my realizations concerning my heart, then you can sign up as a patron at patreon.com/Raederle.